Welcome to another episode of NFL News on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host, Terry, and today, talking about a few things. It's been a little bit of a minute. I haven't done any podcasting in a while. Definitely got the 19 last month, and it was definitely a struggle, not a fun time. And then just a bunch of other stuff, But hey, we are back. And finally, on the mic, talking about some stuff. Going to be a lot of content coming out, NFL and otherwise. So, anyway, let's talk about Deshaun Watson. That's what we're here for. Deshaun Watson, in this case, it's obviously all over the place, and there's a lot of different opinions, and for the most part, I get it, but we are reaching a critical juncture, and I think that we have a pretty solid idea of what's been happening, even though there seems to be a lot of space for these things to get worse. But anyway, a lot of misinformation. Most of the misinformation is on the people that are defending Deshaun Watson, but yeah, let's dive into it. The first thing I would say that we need to start off with is the criminal stuff. Now, every accuser that has filed a suit, at least previous to the 24th one, not all of them were criminal charges. So people are trying to make it seem as if all 23 women or 22 women, they went to criminal court and got shut down. It wasn't all of them. It was a selection of them that were filing criminal charges. On top of that, you had I believe, I don't know if it was the FBI, but there was a lot of talk that there was a federal probe into possible sex trafficking, which they take very seriously. Because of the way sex trafficking is defined, what he was doing could have been considered that. Now, in my personal opinion, I think that was the bulk of what the potential criminal trial would have been. And they said that they had, a pattern, but they didn't really have all that evidence, and that's a serious charge. And so the criminal, the courts decided not to go ahead with the criminal charge. They didn't indict him. That is completely different than the civil part. That's completely different. What you're talking about as far as the burden of proof and evidence, and especially when you have a federal probe looking into possible sex trafficking, you need a lot of evidence. And not to mention, the only other criminal act would be sexual assault, something like that. And so that wasn't what it was. And that's fine, or they felt, at least in Texas, it wasn't enough evidence. That's perfectly fine. However, what the majority of the accusers have accused him of isn't criminal. It's predatory. So I would definitely sit here and say from the beginning, it wasn't as if he was raping people. Let's just go there. There are other players that actually did that and were convicted of that. It wasn't that, but it still wasn't, completely above board. So now we get to this point, and here's what we know. So I said this before. Once the suits got to a certain number, like up towards 20, I'm like, you know what? Because Deshaun Watson and his lawyer confirmed that there were it wasn't like, oh, I don't know any of these women, or I only know 2 of these women. No, he confirmed he knew every last one. He interacted with them. So at that point, I'm like, okay, even if I'm doing innocent until proven guilty, why do you know 24 different or 20 whatever masseuses? I said that before. What we know today is that Deshaun Watson has had a confirmed at least 66 massages by 66 different women, confirmed with receipts. On top of that, not all 66 women were actually masseuse. And we not talking about it might have been actually, I don't know. It's not just, hey, hit a girl up on Instagram, hey, want to come give me a massage. It's not just that. There's a situation where three from a masseuse business, a massage therapy business, 3 women who were not masseuses that just worked there in the office, he had them come give him massages. Please tell me what you think that is. 3 women working in the office of a massage place, you get them to come give you massages. Please tell me what you think that is. 66 different women, and those are the confirmed ones. At this point, it is very likely there's other ones we don't know about. So if you said to me, Terry, okay, here's Terry, I want your opinion on this. Here's the situation. This guy has been accused of trying to elicit sexual acts and give unwanted sexual attention to women during massages. I'd be like, okay, what else? Okay, he's had 66 individual confirmed appointments for massages. I would be like, wow. Then you say a handful or a number of those appointments weren't with licensed actual masseuse. They were with women who worked around the building or people just from Instagram. I'd be like, okay, yeah, we got a problem. But then you say that this guy confirmed that he has had sex with a number of these women after the massage, but it was consensual. Yeah, we got a problem. And then we also find out that the Texans, the way it's being worded is it differs, but at some point somehow he had a non-disclosure agreement from the Houston Texans. So we don't know to the extent of how that worked. Also, he had a hotel room that he used for some of these massages that were the room was paid for by the Houston Texans. Now, Deshaun claims that he doesn't think the team knew about the hotel room, so we could assume that he just had it for or they got it for him. You know, if he want to have people come in town, if he wants to get away, even though he's rich, I'm sure he has a nice house. But either way, basically, they was like, yeah, he uses their fitness center. He eats there, or, whatever. It's a really nice hotel. But apparently he confirmed he was also using it for massages. Again, that's a little suspect. More than a little. Let me stop. Because there's a lot of people that get mad, but I don't care no more. This evidence is crazy. That's more than a little weird. Like, if you have a professional masseuse, even if you're rich, at best, you'll have them do a house visit. You ain't meeting them at no hotel. Like, unless you were on the road and you paid them a lot of money to fly out. But again, when you have that relationship, that's a singular relationship. That's not 66 different people. That's one professional masseuse, just like your personal chef that you're like, okay, they know what I like, what I need, what I want. You're not having 66 different chefs everywhere you go. So it's called personal for a reason. So obviously he didn't have no personal masseuse. He was just out here looking for a masseuse. And so the evidence is overwhelming. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that everything that was alleged against him he did. But I will say 100% certainty. And this ain't, made up stuff. This is what is confirmed by him or by receipts. He has a predatory pattern. Point blank, period. He has a predatory pattern. Number one, because he doesn't need to do this. He does. And honestly, for some reason, people use that as the number one excuse why they're innocent. Is actually the number one excuse why someone might be guilty. Because the fact that when you're a predator and you like get off on this stuff, that is not a challenge to you. It's not a challenge, or it doesn't, feel thrilling if it was really hard. If it was like, man, I never got any of these women, so like, why would you be a predator? You're not getting these women. But the ones that can get these women, the ones that can get it easily, those are the ones that typically go after the challenge of doing something else. So it's predatory behavior, point blank, period. I honestly, at this point, I don't care if he didn't have sex with any of them, or even if he didn't have any complaints filed against him. If you just told me straight up that this man had 66 massages from 66 women, and a handful of them didn't eat, they don't even do massages, I'm like, he's got some problems. He's got some problems. But then you throw in all the sexual stuff on top of it. So yeah, obviously it's something. Like, I'm not sitting here to say he's guilty as in he needs to go to jail. I'm not saying he's, guilty in the sense of, again, everything that's said about him was done. I'm just saying he's guilty in the form of he's not at all what he presented himself to be or what y'all thought he was. That's off the jump. And then what's funny to me is this all started for me. This is already, my ears, perked up when the text was released. So somehow people have went through all these ways to say Deshaun Watson is innocent. And yet conveniently just skip over the fact that a confirmed text between one of the first people to complain, where he tells the girl, you got a career to protect and so do I. Like, what do you think that meant? What do you think he was hinting at? You think he just randomly said that for fun? It's just, come on now. This started at number one. People talking about number 24. This started at number one. When you say, here's the confirmed receipts that I was, contracted by Deshaun to meet him here, do this massage. And then you say this stuff happened, and then you show the text where he reaches out afterwards, checking in on her, apologizing, and saying, hey, I got a career to protect. Are we serious? Are we serious? So yeah, at this point for me, it's clear cut. Deshaun did this crap. He was a predator. Now how far he took it, I don't know. But he's clearly a predator with a pattern of behavior. And the Cleveland Browns, for whatever reason, paid him all that money, and we'll see. There was talks at first about some clauses in the contract that if some other stuff happened down the road, they could get out of it. But it seems like it might be protected until 2024. And that will be the first time they can take action. If that's the case, they are stuck with Deshaun Watson. They are completely stuck. And this would make sense why he all of a sudden chose Cleveland. We heard this, but we thought it was the guaranteed money and whatnot. I think it was more than that. I think it was the big guaranteed money, but it was also the stipulations on that money. where I'm sure other teams wanted some insurances. They want to be able to say, hey, we need a way out if this goes left, if you lie to us. And the Browns apparently took the bait and said, you know what? We won't touch anything these first 2 years. In 2024, if more stuff happens, then we'll talk about it. I think somebody said that the language in the Browns contract prohibits them from taking any action based off this actual situation. Now, you can interpret that depending on how they wrote it. If the 24th, which is the new one, if that's the case, where you look at that as something new, then they might have a way to finagle, but we'll see. It looks like Deshaun's got a pretty airtight contract. And again, if you wasn't lying, why would you need all those assurances? So it's going to be interesting, because I don't think you can look at any of this evidence and give him anything less than a year suspension without getting completely destroyed. I would be pissed if he got anything less than a year, because this is serious. This is serious. Not only now, but this is serious for the future. Because if you slap him on the wrist and he goes about his day, stays quiet, and gets back into his routine, any of these 66 encounters could have been a rape. And so, obviously it doesn't seem like that's his MO, but to be in that mindset where you want to do stuff like this, it could get worse. So I really don't see how they don't suspend him for a year. And it seems like he'll be just sitting back, collecting his check. Yes, the salary's low for the first year, but he's got a lot of guaranteed money. So he might be set up. And the Browns just, to me, it'd be the most Browns thing ever. It would be the best headline ever if the NFL suspended Deshaun Watson indefinitely. That means if Roger says it's going to be at least a year, but we gonna keep him suspended as long as we need. If they said that and the Browns have to go begging back to Baker, I would die laughing. That'd be the most Cleveland Browns thing ever. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, this, to me, I'm just like, yeah, I think the picture is pretty clear about Deshaun Watson. So there's that. But speaking of contracts, let's talk real quick about NFL contracts. I've talked about this multiple times, but as we continue to get new contracts, bigger contracts, the way the media talks about it, people continue to get confused by the same old things. Put it real simple and plain. As I've said before, because especially with the Rams and all that, people are like, how are they getting this money? How are they doing this? The cap is different than bonuses. If you have Aaron Donald, people are like, how did he just get all this new money? And also, when his cap hit went down, because the cap hit is called a salary cap. Keyword salary. That means what you make in the salary. Also, the bonuses, some other bonuses, some other things. That is what counts against the salary cap. The salary is the main thing. So if you have a contract with Aaron Donald and you go in and you edit it and you take his salary down all across the board or just for this year or whatever, and then you add in a new signing bonus or whatever bonus, usually, is it the signing bonus? Yeah, the signing bonus. That's the one that's going to be prorated over time. So if you say, hey, your new salary, we're going to add $40 million to your salary. Well, that's $40 new million against the cap right now. But if you say we're going to add a $40 million signing bonus, Well, then that isn't going to be 40 million right now. It's going to be prorated. It's going to stretch out over their entire contract. So only a percentage of that 40 million is due each year. So what do you do then if it stretches over the contract? You add more years to the contract with the option to void those years. So once you ink $40 million new dollars signing bonus, and you also add in 5 extra years, it's going to stretch out over that entire contract. That's what you owe. That's the payment schedule. But if you void those years later, it doesn't matter. You're still on the same payment schedule. Unless they change it by then. But for right now, that's what you're working with. The reason that we're seeing this and that people aren't comprehending it is because we haven't seen teams have to pay up yet. That, again, you're paying that money down the road. I wouldn't say every, but to my knowledge, all these contracts in the last year with the voidable years, we haven't gotten to the voidable years yet. So everybody's like, when do they pay? Well, they just signed these contracts. So if you sign a 5-year extension or 5-year deal or whatever, and you got 2 voidable years, we're not going to see that for another 3 years. So we have to wait. And I think Dak Prescott might be the first, or at least the biggest, with the voidable years. So, and I forgot how long his contract was, but we're not going to see that for years. And that is what teams that are hungry, that's what they're doing. They're saying, we'll pay that money when it's time to pay it. And if you cut them, if you trade them, it becomes dead money right away. And so you still got to pay that money. And that's why the Rams were paying Jared Goff last year. You know how dead money works. So, but they're taking the risk and saying, let's go for it now. So the Rams can give money because the bonus is the cash. The cash is not the salary cap. That's just pure what the owner wants to spend. So if they say, hey, Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, Allen Robinson, we're going to give you these fat bonuses so you can have a lower salary, you know, depending on what the schedule is, because they have slotted salaries. But you're going to have a lower salary, but you're going to get cash right now, and we'll, you know, do the whole payment thing over the length of this contract. That's how they're doing it. So it's essentially like the NBA with the luxury tax, except they don't get taxed on it. So the NBA, you can go over the cap, the salary cap, but you got to pay a tax. In the NFL, you can go over the cap, technically you're not, but you can pay more than the cap if you're willing to spend that cash out of the owner's pocket. And this, you know, people say it all the time, and I, you know, to a certain extent I agree. The owners, the cheap owners really hurt the team and all that. This is where it really comes in, because the whole giving a fat contract to a free agent, you know, whatever, building an indoor practice facility or having the best facilities, whatever. Dallas have some of the best facilities. They ain't doing nothing. But when you're talking about, okay, this is out of our control. This is out of the NFL circle. This is all in your pocketbooks. We can keep Aaron Donald. We can keep Cooper Kupp. We can keep Stat. We can do all that if you want to pay out of pocket. And then, of course, pay down the line. And the teams that are aggressive and want to win right now, they're doing that. But also is going to highlight a big difference between the owners who aren't super rich. You know, there's a difference between being worth $1 billion and having $1 billion. So we'll see. We know the smaller owners. The NFL is a pretty good relationship, but the smaller markets and all that, they're going to fight and they're going to want to make it fair. But as of right now, if you got a big money bags owner, you can stretch these contracts out. You can keep people there, and you can still be under the salary cap. So that's what we're seeing right now. And the players, for whatever reason, choose to one by one fight and claw for guaranteed money instead of coming together and just demanding guaranteed contracts. But that's a different discussion. All right, that's it for me. Go down in the comment section, let me know what you think. Share around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.